Hey there, it's Jessie here, and a big fat warm welcome to this little tiny channel. Thank you very much for being here. If you're completely new, congratulations, you've found us. And if you're coming back, you know that I love you. I don't have much to say today. That probably got rid of a few of the riffraff. If you're still here, is there anything to say today? I don't know if it's the after effect of that moon and eclipse we just had, where it's just like peaceful again. Maybe it's being back in Portugal in my daily routine and spending a lot of time by myself that also makes me feel calm. Anyway, it feels really good to not have anything to say. It's like a day off. The mindless chattering of my mind. It's so rare when this happens to me. I wonder if this is I wonder how many humans experience this level of mental calm. It's very pleasant. It's quite enjoyable. It's like pleasurable. Just feels good to be alive. Not thinking about stuff. My mind is not thinking about stuff. It's like grasping, coming up with all these things. I'm going to show you something that I got. So you might know that I'm kind of into tarot and oracle cards and things like that. I like it. It's fun. And I got this new deck in a charity shop when I was back in the UK called Soul Cards. And they're just like a series of images, but they don't have any words with them. And there's no booklet to interpret the image. And it's fantastic for anyone who wants to exercise their imagination and trust, self-trust. Because you just get an image and it's completely open to interpretation. I let it speak to my soul, since they're called soul cards. And I sort of just stare at it long enough until something unfolds and it starts speaking or moving. And my personal interpretation, which is all I need, becomes very clear. And there's no checking to see if you were right, if what you felt corresponds with the card. There's no relying on an external source to tell you what it means. You just have you and the image, and what do you make it mean? And I'm loving it. I'm loving how it exercises my imagination, my curiosity, my exploration into self, and then the trust. Just trusting that whatever comes up came up. It's a creation of my own mind, but why did I create that? Oh, it's so fun. So I'm going to pull one for us right now. I wonder if it will be able to be, well, it will be interpreted in as many ways as people interpret it, I suppose. So let's see if it works. I'll just pull one for us all. I'm not going to think of anything in particular. Maybe if you want to. I'm just going to think of what card would be best for all of us right now. And we'll see what image we get. and see what it speaks to. Okay? Oh man, I just pulled this before the reading. Here it is. So we're just going to be with this. Well, I'm going to be with this for some minutes. And this came up before. Wow, it's super curious because it's clear to me what it brings up in me to talk about, but it's also something that I'm a bit hesitant to go into, actually, because I don't understand it a lot myself, and I suppose it's quite taboo. Anyway, I'll make the video and let's see if I upload it. If you're listening to me now, I have. So when I went to India, the second time, it was 2019, and I sort of, I went through some kind of doorway, guys, into another realm. But I went into this doorway blindfolded. And I was open to more than what we can see in the material realm. Maybe it was my third eye opening. I don't know the specifics, but I had opened a doorway. And through this doorway, I met a spirit. And this spirit came and it felt incredibly familiar and loving, and I immediately made love with the spirit, like within minutes. And then, this was quite some years ago. I was still extremely idealistic and hopeful in love. And then this crazy thing happened. So it's perfect for me, like the right amount of crazy in love. So then I started developing like a relationship with this spirit. And it was very easy. I mean, it was like catching up with an old friend. That's what it felt like. I was enchanted. And as it began to develop, I suppose that I started to learn that this is where I kind of learned that I was blindfolded, because through this doorway was this one spirit that was very familiar and loving. And there were others that could take different forms or take the guise of this familiar spirit, or, all of this. I started realizing how much that world, spirit world, is, not all spirits are good. It's like being a human, for God's sake. Like, learn discernment. Not everyone has the same ethos. Anyways, some crazy years, right? Well, some crazy months in India. I was really developing this relationship secretly. I shared it with a couple of people I'd met. And actually, one of my friends was an Indian shopkeeper. And I told him about it. And they're much more open to this kind of stuff in India, huh? And he called his witch doctor friend, who kind of got my name and got my mother's name and was able to read the situation. And he said the spirit has been around since I was a young child. So anyway, it starts getting pretty mad, and I'll be totally honest, because my access to this realm after smoking weed was like instant. I didn't have to like step my way there slowly, patiently, wisely. I'd just get high and then boom. So I started becoming it, like that had an influence. That reliance on the substance had an influence on my life. And also my mood, like, because it was affecting my sleep and it was affecting how social I was being, like open to meeting new people, all of this. So then I come back to Portugal, right? And the spirit's still with me. But by this point, I've kind of shared it with enough people for fear to totally invade the space and the connection. And a lot of people would like not happy with this, the thought of this. like there being a ghost or a spirit around, you know, engaging in sexual activities. So it's like stealing sexual energy, life force from you, all of this. Like a lot of fear was introduced, which I had very naively overlooked and had experienced, like the dark side, or, you know, the light and the dark of entering this realm, which I was kind of figuring out on the go. But these people were like, no, you know. Then I went to see a psychic therapist, and he was like, this is awful. So in Christianity, they're known as succubus or incubus spirits. It's a name that's been given in that faith. And, you know, it's something to be feared, and they're demons, and they're stealing from you, all of this. So he gave me psychic protection techniques, and it was like breaking up with this was a total betrayal to myself, but I was doing it because I thought it was the right thing to do. Other people's fear had contaged me. And I would write letters. Like, it was a very difficult decision to make. And I don't think I ever really fully did it. I just became fearful of this connection myself. And, you know, even really psychic friends were like, no, this isn't good. I went to a community in Spain, and 2 people there told me they could see this spirit that was attached to me. One came from Brazil, from indigenous, but I think very like Catholic influenced background. He was like, these are terrible spirits, you need to be rid of them, all of this. My other psychic friend was like, it's not healthy when I feel into it. But it wasn't my experience so much of what was happening. I was just confused by the experience, and I didn't have any clear guidance of anyone who really knew. They were more sharing their fears from what they had been told. So I wasn't trusting or owning my personal experience of how it made me feel. I was then caught the fear of others, and then really betrayed myself in saying goodbye to something that I didn't naturally feel I want to. Anyway, the years go by, and I tend to start, you know, for some years, I'm like, okay, I do not need to have a connection with this thing that is in another realm. Like my Indian shopkeeper friend always said to me, why be in love? Why fall in love with a fish? They live in the water. You live on land. And I think that was such a beautiful thing for him to share, because it's true. And it speaks to my experience in that, like, this sort of hopelessness that I feel with this love, that we are in different realms, but that doesn't negate its importance, significance, influence, and realness. I don't know the word there. I got distracted. Anyway, as of late, I decided actually to ask AI what were all the different traditions on these energies, all the different approaches and interpretations of this energetic experience. And it gave different perspectives, you know, other than the Christian fearful one. There were others, like in Africa, in certain ancient cultures in Africa, this is known as a spirit spouse. And depending on who you're listening to, like some people still think it's devilish and demonized, but traditionally it wasn't seen that way. And then there's other shamanic, I think from North American, I don't know exactly where, but the Americas side. Know it as a spirit ally. That's obviously not their word for it, but that's the translation that I read. Where you can bond with a spirit on the other side, and you sort of help each other out in the different realms. And, you know, when I see this image, it's kind of what it feels like. It's like a little spirit friend, companion, ally. And I didn't think I was going to talk about this because it's crazy and I don't know much about it. But that it came out before and came out again makes me feel maybe it's safe to say it. Maybe if you guys are still here listening, maybe you've experienced something too, because all I can say is when I was going through this, when it first began in 2019, no one helped, really. All that I got was, some people didn't know what the F I was on about. And those that did, there were one or two supportive people. But the others just were fearful. And since reading these different interpretations from different traditions, I know which ones resonate in me and speak more to my experience. Although my body gave me a no, so maybe I don't. I could be fooling myself. It's very possible, huh? But yeah, anyway, anyone else ever experienced anything like this? Because I'm sure I'm not the only one. And also, if you're here and you found this video, maybe it probably is resonating with you to some degree. Otherwise, we wouldn't still be here. And if it is, or anything crazy happening like that to you and you don't know what's going on, I don't really know what's going on either, but it's not necessarily something to be afraid of. If maybe it's just something not everyone experiences. And yeah. Stay tuned. Maybe this isn't the end of this discussion. I'll see how it goes down. So let us know. Otherwise, have a beautiful day and a beautiful life. And we got this.